Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We started the study guide of the Aradhana Mahotsavam last week, and that mainly this covers the 5 fundamental human values: Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa, which we talked about. That is truth, right conduct, peace, love, and non-violence. I will just tell like bullet point, brief points, so that everybody at least remembers the main point. Satya is truth. What is not just reporting a fact, it is Trikala Badhyam Satyam. That means truth is something which is true in all the times, in all places, in every situation. Trikala Badhyam Satyam, to past, present, and future. So that is real truth. So, and the real eternal truth is God. That is why, and to attain that, Satyam, Sa is Sakshatkaram. To realize the truth, you need to do 2 things. Sa, first is Sa, Sakshatkaram. It is the vision of God. Ta means tapas. That means you need to do austerities, whatever is, like what they were telling. They were doing fasting, repeating God's name, and thinking about more about Lord Jesus or Muhammad or Allah or Rama, Krishna. So whatever it is, this is tapas. And yama, sa, ta, ya. Yama means discipline. You do it in a disciplined way. So there is a always yama and niyama are emphasized to attain the truth. That is satyam. And also, Taittiriya Upanishad beautifully says, even Swami sings that bhajan, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So the name of God is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. He is the truth, He is the knowledge, and He is the infinity, and He is the supreme Brahman. So Satyam itself is the Brahman. Actually, Lord Krishna says in Gita, we all chant every day. Hope you know Om Tat Sat Sri Narayanatu. It begins with Om Tat Sat. Lord Krishna says these are the 3 letters which indicate of the Supreme Brahman. Om by itself is Brahman. Tat, that is why we call Tattvamasi. And Om Tat Sat. Sat is Satya. So Sat itself is indicative of Parabrahman. So that is the power. And we talked about the 3 greatest examples for truth. One is Lord Rama. Second is Emperor Harishchandra. They all of them sacrificed for the sake of truth, everything. And recent times we talked about Mahatma Gandhi. So the truth is very important for all of us. People say words casually. Like Sri Ramakrishna, I remember, he said, once you give a word, keep it up. So I want to come to your place, I will give you this. You need to stick to it unless there is a crisis. So one time Sri Ramakrishna says, I'll come to your house today. And suddenly he realized he forgot all about it, but he remembered late in the night. So he took those days that little hurricane lantern in the around 11 or 12 in the night. He went late, went to the house of that person whom he said he will come, went and touched their, they didn't disturb them, touched their door sill and came back. To say how much importance he gives when you give a word to somebody, whatever it is, and we need to make sure that we keep up the word. That is another important thing.
Right conduct, Dharma. Om Sri Sai Sadhu Vardhanaya Namaha. One who promotes the quality of piety, righteousness. The word sadhu stands for virtue, righteousness, piety, and perfection. Baba promotes in those who have the good fortune to accept his guidance, seeking him out as they think they do, all the virtues qualities. He insists on practice, experience and character as the fruit of sadhana, and virtue as the sweet juice that fills the fruit. He has said that the phrase in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, Yoga of Knowledge, quote, whenever there is decline of righteousness and unrighteousness is in the ascent, then I embody myself forth for the protection of the virtuous sadhus, for the destruction of evildoers, and for establishing dharma on a firm footing. I am born from age to age. unquote, does not refer to sadhus, monks in ochre robes, but to good men who are detached from worldly pleasures and worldly objects. Numerous are the instances where he healed the wounds caused by unrighteousness, revered the parents, honored the teachers, respect the elders and scholars, seek out opportunities of service, spread joy and contentment, do not indulge in slander, ignore the faults of others, do not extol your own merits, fix your attention on the Sai that is in every living being. These are the directions he gives. These will develop the virtuous sadhu qualities in us. He loves and draws near to himself good men of all castes, countries, and races. So everyone is persuaded to examine his faults and vices and become better in every way and win his love. He sees through pretension and humbug. It is impossible to impose on his confidence by means of pomp or external signs of goodness or purity. He can be satisfied only by genuine, consistent sincerity. Next section, the essential duty. Sathya Sai Baba said, quote, the elimination of harmful tendencies, impulses, and habits, and the building up of character are, however, only preliminary to the practice of spiritual discipline. Now the wickedness is a universal feature, and I have to bring about a revolution in human character, attitude, and behavior, and teach people certain disciplines. People have to be put back on the road to unity, harmony, and peace. The realization that everything in the universe is the manifestation of the Lord is the very basis, the entire content, the warp and the woof, the yarn and the cloth of all. This is the right of every person, whatever be his race, creed, class, or caste. You of this generation are indeed lucky that you have the fortune of contact with me and the chance to receive the guidance I have come to give. Unquote. Next section. Show the benefits of your faith. At Madras, while speaking to the members of the Young Men's Indian Association, Sathya Sai Baba pleaded with the elders present to become, for the young men of today, better examples of integrity, efficiency, and selfless service. Quote, prominent personages claiming to be great declaim about freely quoting the similes and metaphors in the sacred scriptures. But by their conduct, their conceit, and their conflicts, they only diminish the lustre of those treasures. There is no coordination between the speaker, the subject, and the subsequent conduct, he said. At Gokhale Hall, he said that man must seek the answers to four fundamental questions. Quote, who am I? Where have I come from? Whither am I going? How long will I stay? Unquote. He said that the ancient Indian scriptural texts are devoted to the discovery of the answers to these queries. He showed how the answers can be realized through science, but he also said that the Lord's grace, if won through constant contemplation and introspection, will reveal the answers to the aspirant in an instant. Analyzing the causes of the present crisis in the moral life of the community, he pointed out that cynicism and the urge to satirize are two main diseases of the age, and these lead to irreverence and the spread of disbelief. A life lived in the constant presence of God is the safest and most satisfying, for the shafts of social criticism will not penetrate it and harm it. Religion and belief in God are being challenged now from all quarters. It is therefore the duty of all good men to meet this challenge by demonstrating to the critics how their lives have been made sweeter by religion, how the realization of the constant presence of the Lord has made them more efficient, more earnest, and more courageous for the task of living. Next section. It is our dharma to reflect and express his nature. Baba declares that his life is his message. So, being in his presence, observing his compassion, his simplicity, his earnestness, his insight, his love, is itself a valuable opportunity for the aspirant to gain fullness and freedom. Every word of his is fraught with significance to the person he addresses, and it deals with each one as a separate special problem. He does not vent cheap panaceas for the multifarious deficiencies of man. The goal is within you, the cure is in your hands. Where the illness is, there the remedy is provided. To achieve the goal is to open the eye, to awake, to light a lamp, to deny a nightmare. It is all so simple. Seeing the truth is as simple as speaking it, he says. Quote, why make the road long and then earn gratitude by recommending shortcuts? Unquote. The darkness of centuries will disappear when a lamp is lit. You need no gun to shoot it off, no book to argue it off, no tears to wash it off, no pugilistic prowess to push it off, unquote, he says. For each, Baba has the remedy most suited, in an easily portable form, and he dispenses it with affection and sympathy. Quote, Baba makes each one realize, unquote, says John Hislop, that he is a reflection of his reality. It is our dharma, our duty, to reflect and express his nature, which is truth and love, for that is our real nature also. And it is our primary duty to free ourselves from the illusion of separateness from God, to merge into God, just as the droplets of spray flung into the air by wind and storm fall back and are no longer separate from the sea. Unquote. Last section. Sathya Sai sets an example of right conduct. As the tender years of 3 and 4, at the tender years of 3 and 4, quote, this Brahmin, unquote, as they referred to young Sathya Sai Baba, showed that he had a heart that melted at human suffering. Whenever a beggar appeared at the door and raised his cry, Satya left his play and rushed inside to force his sisters to hand out grain or food. The adults were naturally irritated by the endless procession of outstretched hands. They easily lost their tempers and sometimes turned the beggar away before Satya could bring relief. This made the child weep so long and loudly that only by bringing the dismissed beggar back could the elders stop the wailing. On occasion, in order to put an end to what the elders thought was expensive and misplaced charity, the mother caught hold of Satya and with a finger raised in warning said, look here, you may give him food, but mind you, you'll have to starve. That did not daunt the child. He would run inside and bring out food to the hungry man at the door, and later stay away from lunch or dinner himself. Nothing and no one could persuade him to come for his food, which was left untouched. When Satya began running about in the streets, he sought out the maimed, the blind, the decrepit, and the diseased, and led them by the hand to the doorsteps of his parents. The sisters had to secure from the store or the kitchen some grain or food and put it into the beggar's bowl while the little master looked on happily.
So we'll be finishing because in 4 more minutes. So we'll continue. I think discussion we cannot do due justice. We'll continue that. But let me just make 2 points. So we talk about just because of Ramanavami coming, we should again remember Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. So this Dharma, here translation is right conduct. Right conduct is not the right translation. So right conduct is a part of Dharma. Dharma is much wider sense meaning of Dharma. Like for example, like Dharma of businessmen is to do business, like each one depending upon your aptitude and your work, your different karma. The highest Dharma everybody has is Swadharma. Swami is beautiful. That is Swa is what? Atma. To know that you are the Atma, like what is the nature of the Dharma of fire? Burn. And the nature of the water to wet. The nature of Vayu is that similarly the nature, our real nature. That's why he says, find out your real nature. That is the real Dharma. That is Swadharma. That is Atma Dharma. Please think about that, and then we'll continue the discussion, because this is very important. So, and also another thing Swami said, he always came to give. God comes down to establish there is decline of righteousness, decline of Dharma. Understand? Swami says, that's all the translators say that. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is decline of Dharma, God comes. Even Shankara, Bhashya, Raman, everybody shows. But Swami gave beautiful. Dharma never declines. Dharma is Dharma. Satya is Dharma. He never declines. People who practice Dharma decline. In the Satya Yuga, 100% of the people used to follow Dharma. In Treta Yuga, 3 legs it goes. That means only 75%. Then in Dwapara, 50. Now Kali Yuga, 25% or maybe even less follow the Dharma. So the people who, number of people and how they practice Dharma declines. Dharma is Dharma always. Like sun is sun, whether you Treta Yuga or Dwapara Yuga, Satya Yuga. But depending upon the clouds, you won't see. Similarly, how you practice Dharma, that is also wrong translation. Swami gave a beautiful inner meaning. So these two things I want people to contemplate and remember for next week's discussion. Real Dharma is much more than right conduct. Second is, Dharma never declines. When the practice of Dharma declines, and then the Lord comes to inspire us so that we practice Dharma, our life gets transformed. Dharma is the love in action. So he says, usually they translate as right conduct, but we said it is higher than that. And we also talked about how Rama himself is Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma, is the embodiment of Dharma, how to lead a life. It is a practical life, how to lead as like a good husband, good king, good friend. And so all this you can see watching the life of Lord Rama. That is, and if you do that, what is that? Our scriptures say, Dharmo Rachati Rachiteha. If you practice Dharma, Dharma will protect you. You don't need to worry about anything else. Our duty is to practice Dharma. Dharma will protect us. What is this Dharma? Dharma is, there are many aspects. One is the Dharma, what is called Ashrama Dharma, depending upon when you are a child or a student, when a young man, that is Brahmachari Dharma, that you are a student, you study and go up in the classes and get a degree, a job. Then comes, once you finish that, next comes Gruhastha Dharma. Then you take a householder life, get married and discharge your householder responsibility. Then third stage, once you finish that, there's Vanaprastha. That means once you cross 55, so you are supposed to be more reclusive, more thinking about God. But Swami says now Vanaprasthas are Vanaraprasthas. They are like monkeys going around, jumping around. They don't really, you are supposed to be, after the age of 55, more focused. Don't get involved in all these household things and getting entangled in the world. Then comes the last stage, sannyasa, where your complete focus is only on God. There is ashrama dharma. Then also varna dharma, depending upon your attitude, whether you want to do the business or whether you're a thinker, whether you are just do the unskilled labor, or you are protecting the place by kshatriya dharma. And then also laingika dharma, depending upon your gender. But the highest dharma we should remember, all of us, Swami says, is Atma Dharma, because that is what we really are. This is all for body and mind. You are a woman or man, you are a doctor or a gardener or a lawyer or whatever it is, or you are young or old. That is all for body and mind. But the real, which doesn't change, that is our Atma Dharma. That is why even when he was asked, Bhishma teaches Dharmaraja many dharmas, how to behave as a king, what to do. But he says, what is the highest dharma? Highest dharma is love thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength. Even Jesus said that. So the highest priority is to God. The thinking the God is the highest dharma. That is why even Lord Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Give up everything. These are all little dharmas. The highest dharma is thinking about God. Sai Ram.